This story will make you rethink the power of your words. When Madison Carter, America's most influential billionaire, saw her family being attacked on national television, she never imagined her response would forever change the entertainment industry. Before continuing, leave in the comments. Have you ever witnessed someone disguising prejudice as humor? How did you react? Let's get to the story that shook American media. The night seemed ordinary at the World Media Network studios in Manhattan, New York. The show Late Night with Jack Thompson was on air, with its typical mix of sharp humor and commentary on current events. Host Jack Thompson, known for his caustic style, commanded the stage with his usual confidence. The audience laughed and applauded, while Jack made his jokes about celebrities and politicians. But that night, he decided to target someone different. Madison Carter, the billionaire CEO of Carter Global Enterprises, and America's richest black woman. Madison was in her Beverly Hills mansion, watching the show with her 3 teenage children, when Jack started a series of comments that went far beyond humor. These weren't just jokes about her success or her company, they were personal attacks involving her children and her background. The studio grew tense. Some audience members laughed nervously, others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Jack's comments weren't just offensive, they were clearly discriminatory, mixing racial prejudice with personal attacks on the Carter family. Within minutes, social media exploded. Hashtags like Jan's Boycott Jack Thompson and Defend Madison Carter started appearing on Twitter and Instagram. Clips of the segment spread rapidly, generating waves of outrage and debate. Madison watched everything in silence, her eyes fixed on the screen, while her children, Michael, 16, Sophia, 14, and James, 12, watched in shock as malicious jokes about their family were made. As a mother who had always protected her children's privacy, she knew she couldn't let this go unpunished. In her private office, Madison started making calls. It wasn't just words that had hurt her. It was a systematic attack that needed to be answered. She knew her response wouldn't just be for herself or her children, but for all families who had ever been targets of prejudice disguised as entertainment. The next morning, Madison Carter's legal team was already mobilized. Katherine Anderson, one of the country's most respected attorneys in defamation cases, led the team. Her office in downtown Manhattan was full of assistants analyzing every second of Jack Thompson's show. The World Media Network tried to minimize the incident. Their executives released a statement calling the jokes provocative humor and defending their host's creative freedom. But Madison knew it was time to show that some lines couldn't be crossed. The lawsuit was filed in the New York Supreme Court. The accusations were serious: defamation, discriminatory harassment, and moral damages. The requested compensation was astronomical, $500 million. The amount wasn't just about money. It was a clear message about the price of prejudice. News of the lawsuit hit the entertainment industry like a bomb. Television analysts intensely debated the case in special programs. Some defended Jack Thompson, arguing about freedom of speech. Others supported Madison, highlighting how the humor had gone too far. Jack Thompson appeared on his show the next night, but his usual tone of arrogance was visibly shaken. He tried to joke about the lawsuit, but his words rang hollow. The audience, normally so receptive, seemed hesitant to laugh. On social media, the debate intensified. Black celebrities began sharing their own experiences with discrimination in media. Stories that had never come to light began to emerge, revealing a disturbing pattern in the entertainment industry. Madison kept her children away from the spotlight, but the damage was already done. Michael, her oldest son, had to deactivate his social media due to online harassment. Sophia began experiencing anxiety at school, and young James started questioning his own identity. The case was just beginning, and no one could predict the twist that was about to come. An anonymous source within World Media Network was about to reveal information that would completely change the course of the lawsuit. The anonymous source turned out to be Jennifer Mitchell, former executive producer of Jack Thompson's show. She brought with her a devastating collection of emails, messages, and internal documents exposing the toxic culture within World Media Network. The documents revealed that the attacks on the Carter family weren't impulsive. They were part of a calculated strategy to increase ratings. In one particularly shocking email, a high-ranking executive wrote, "Let's target the Carter family, a black billionaire woman. The public will love to see her fall." Jennifer had more. Meeting recordings showed executives laughing at racist jokes, planning personal attacks, and discussing how they could put the Carter family in their place. It was a brutal exposure of institutionalized discrimination that existed behind the scenes. World Media Network tried to discredit Jennifer, claiming she was a disgruntled employee seeking revenge. But every document she presented was verifiable. Every email had a digital record. Every recording was authentic. The case was no longer just about a host making distasteful jokes. It was about a corporate conspiracy to attack a family because of their race and success. The revelation shook the media industry to its foundations. Other employees began speaking out. A former makeup artist revealed how she heard executives using racist language backstage. A former writer shared how his ideas were rejected when they involved portraying minorities positively. Public opinion changed drastically. World Media Network stocks plummeted. Advertisers began pulling their sponsorships. Jack Thompson, who once bragged about his popularity, now could barely leave his house without being confronted by protesters. Copy retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. I'll continue translating while maintaining the story's emotional impact and cultural significance. Madison Carter remained focused on her goal. This wasn't about revenge. It was about change. She wanted to ensure no other family would have to go through what hers did. The trial was approaching, and she was prepared to expose everything. The trial day arrived with an intensity no one could have predicted. The New York courthouse was surrounded by hundreds of protesters. Signs demanded justice and change. Media crews crowded the courthouse steps. Cameras pointed at everyone entering. Madison Carter arrived with her legal team, wearing an elegant black suit. Her posture was firm, her gaze determined. Jack Thompson entered through the back, trying to avoid cameras. The World Media Network executives arrived in their armored cars, faces tense. Katherine Anderson, Madison's attorney, opened the trial with a powerful speech. "This case isn't just about offensive words," she declared. "It's about a systematic campaign of discrimination orchestrated at the highest corporate levels." The evidence began to be presented. Jennifer Mitchell took the stand and, under oath, detailed years of institutionalized discrimination. Her voice trembled as she read the emails aloud, exposing the true intentions behind the attacks on the Carter family. Now, a pause, dear viewer. Have you ever witnessed discrimination disguised as jokes in your workplace or school? How did you handle that situation? Share your experience in the comments. Continuing with the story. The most impactful testimony, however, came unexpectedly. Robert Wilson, former CEO of World Media Network, decided to break his silence. He confirmed that the company had an unwritten policy of keeping certain people in their place through aggressive humor. World Media Network's defense crumbled when Wilson revealed a secret meeting where executives specifically discussed how to take down Madison Carter for being too successful for her own good. The courtroom fell into absolute silence as he detailed the racist conversations that happened behind closed doors. Jack Thompson, called to testify, tried to maintain his comic persona but failed miserably under Katherine Anderson's precise questioning. He ended up admitting he knew the comments were offensive, but made them anyway because that's what was expected of him. With each new testimony, each document presented, each recording played, it became clear that this wasn't just another defamation lawsuit. It was the exposure of an entire system built on prejudice and discrimination. The court listened in silence to Madison Carter's final testimony. Her voice was steady as she described the impact on her children's lives. She spoke about Michael, who quit basketball to avoid public attention, about Sophia, who started straightening her hair trying to fit in, about James, who asked why people didn't like them. How can we protect our children from prejudice and strengthen their self-esteem? Leave your suggestions in the comments below. Continuing with the story, the jury deliberated for 3 days. When they returned, the verdict was unanimous. World Media Network was found guilty of all charges. The established compensation, $800 million, more than the initial request. The judge also ordered structural changes in the company, including mandatory training and external supervision. Jack Thompson was fired that same night. His show was immediately canceled. Top World Media Network executives resigned in succession, trying to avoid more negative exposure. The company lost half its market value in a week. Madison used part of the settlement to create the Carter Foundation for Media Justice, dedicated to fighting prejudice in entertainment and supporting minority voices in the industry. The case became a landmark, studied in law and communication schools. Jennifer Mitchell was appointed as a diversity consultant for various television networks. Robert Wilson wrote a book exposing systemic racism in the entertainment industry. The story continued to reverberate, inspiring changes in other media companies. A year later, Michael returned to basketball. Sophia started wearing her natural hair with pride. James founded a debate club at school. The Carter family showed it was possible to face prejudice and win, not just in court, but in real life. Madison Carter's fight wasn't just for personal justice. It was a turning point that forced America to confront racism disguised as entertainment. Her legacy continues to inspire others to stand up against discrimination, proving that one brave voice can change an entire system. Madison Carter's story began to generate concrete changes in the entertainment industry. Other television networks, fearing similar lawsuits, initiated voluntary internal audits. Global Entertainment Network discovered similar patterns of discrimination and preemptively fired dozens of executives. Congress called special hearings on discrimination in media. Madison was invited to testify, her presence making a profound impact when she shared emails and messages not revealed during the trial. Documents showing executives from other networks secretly supporting World Media Network's strategy. Jennifer Mitchell released an explosive documentary called Backstage of Hate, exposing decades of systematic discrimination in the entertainment industry. The film included anonymous testimonies from over 100 professionals who feared retaliation for denouncing racism in their workplaces. The Carter Foundation expanded rapidly, creating a scholarship program for young Black people interested in media careers. Michael, Madison's oldest son, decided to study law, inspired by his mother's fight. Sophia started a blog about self-esteem for Black teenagers, which went viral. Robert Wilson, in an exclusive interview, revealed that the attack on the Carter family wasn't an isolated case. There was a list of preferred targets, successful Black families that the network considered potential problems. This revelation led to a new wave of lawsuits against World Media Network. The transformation in the industry went beyond corporate policies. New television shows emerged focused on authentic representation. Audiences began demanding more diversity, not just in front of the cameras, but also in positions of power behind them. The legacy of the Carter versus World Media Network case continued to echo years later. The entertainment industry underwent a fundamental transformation. Major television networks now had diversity councils with real decision-making power. The numbers showed the change. Representation in executive positions increased 300% in 5 years. Madison Carter became an even more influential figure, not just as a businesswoman, but as a symbol of resistance and change. Her story was taught in universities as an example of how one person can transform an entire system. The Carter Foundation expanded internationally, creating programs in various countries. Jack Thompson attempted a return to television years later, but the public hadn't forgotten. His new online show lasted only 3 episodes. He ended up writing a public letter of apology to the Carter family, acknowledging how harmful his humor had been. World Media Network, under new leadership, transformed completely. The company established the industry's largest diversity program, offering real opportunities for minority talents. The Carter case became part of mandatory training for all employees. The Carter family thrived. Michael graduated law school with honors and began working on civil rights cases. Sophia transformed her blog into a global empowerment platform. James, the youngest, decided to pursue a career in content production, determined to tell stories that made a difference. Madison Carter's fight proved that a determined voice can change the world. Her case wasn't just about individual justice, it was about transforming an entire system. The message was clear: prejudice, even disguised as entertainment, has too high a price. If this story touched you, share it. Continue the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more stories that challenge the status quo and inspire real change. Together, we can build a world where success isn't limited by skin color, where humor doesn't hurt, and where every voice has the power to make a difference.